Hello everybody, it's Wendy and I am finally filming a tutorial. It has been weeks, it seems like, since I filmed a tutorial, but I have been so busy getting ready for the sale that's coming up with all the polymer clay and resin and lucite flower pieces that's all I've done. So I decided this evening that I was going to sit down and I'm going to film a tutorial, and I'm just so ready to make something. So my nails look terrible. I'm just going to warn you ahead of time because, like I said, I've been working with resin and polymer clay and paints and all kinds of stuff. And so, yeah, I scrubbed them up, but there's only so much you can do. So, they're clean. They're just colorful. So, anyway, most of the items that I'm getting ready to film this tutorial with are available on my website. My website is right here. It is beadonawireJewelry.com. And so I will link it in the description box below as well. But this is going to be a beachy kind of seashell necklace. So if you're interested in making this, I'm going to get a supply list together for you. So let me grab my glasses. That's the first thing that I should do. And wipe them off, the lenses. Okay, so here we go. So the first thing you're going to need for this is you're going to need a piece of chain. So I'm using antique gold today. It doesn't matter what you use. I have rose gold and silver chain on my website. I do not have antique gold, but that's what I'm using today. And yeah, see the polymer clay, and it just will not come off. I have scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed. I'm telling you, it's terrible. But then we've also got this larger chain. Now I got this at, I believe it was Michael's or Hobby Lobby. Who has Blue Moon? Maybe that's Joann's. I don't know. Whoever has Blue Moon, this is the brand it is. And you don't have to have this specific chain, obviously. You can just use any chain with some larger links in it will work. You can even, if you have rings, you can even link rings together. So just you're just going to need some larger links of whatever you've got. Okay, so we're going to need those two chains right there. I'm going to lay them right here. And then you're going to need a closure. So I'm using a lobster today as my closure. I prefer lobsters on necklaces. And then you're going to need, I've got a little seashell charm right here that I'm going to be using. And then you're going to need this seashell piece. So this is available on my website. I have a limited supply of them, but they are very cool. It is like a shell that they have cut lengthwise. And it's just the coolest thing. And I really wanted to do something really pretty with it. So we're going to do this. We're going to hang this little dangle from the bottom and some beads. So you're going to need a charm of some sort and a focal of some sort. And I'm using, like I said, the shell. Okay, I've got some flower bead caps. These are 5-petal flower bead caps. These are also available on my website. They're really, really cute. I like these a lot. I've got some teeny tiny rondelles that I'm going to use just for a little bit of sparkle, I think. I've got some white shell beads. Now, I don't even know where I got these, and I thought I had some more of them. I was hoping I did laying out here, but I don't see them. My desk is a mess, I gotta say. It's a mess. But anyway, see, we're going to use some of these white shell beads. I'm going to be using some faux sea glass. So this is like a green, kind of a teal green, but this is even more. Well, this is more like, I think they called this peacock blue. I don't know, but I love it. I think it's a beautiful color. So I'm using these in 8mm. The other ones are 4. And these are both on my website right now. You're going to need some head pins. And I've got a wide assortment back here. Somehow all my head pins got mixed up. So I'm having to kind of just pull out the antique gold ones. But see, there's silver mixed in there. I don't know how that happened. Something dumped over in the drawer, and yeah, they're all mixed up. So anyway, you're going to need some head pins, and I don't know, I mean, all of my head pins are kind of together, obviously, as you can see, but I do have most of them separated out into colors, but all the sizes are together. Like, I put all the antique bronze, all the antique gold, all the bright gold, they're all together in one thing. So I could not tell you what thicknesses or anything like that they are. I just, if it fits on the bead, I go with it. I'm not, I mean, I don't know. I'm not one that really is too concerned with the thickness of the head pin unless it's a bead that I'm going, like a teeny tiny bead. Like if I was going to put one of these little rondelles on a head pin, I would definitely use one of these thin ball head pins because you can wire wrap it, and something like that you would need to wire wrap. But the rest of the bigger beads, I don't pay any attention to that. I just grab a head pin and go. So if the bead fits on it, we're good to go. Yeah, so somebody always asks me that, what thickness of head pins? And I'm like, I have no idea. I mean, literally, they're all mixed together. I would say if I had to guess, they're probably like 18 gauge or somewhere around in there. Okay, so you're going to need head pins and you're going to need some jump rings. And same thing with my jump rings. All the antique gold ones are mixed in here together. I just pour a little pile out and pick out the size that I want as I'm working. So that's just how I do it. All right, so you're going to need all your jewelry tools. And I think that's everything. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is make a bunch of dangles. Okay, so I'm going to use all the kinds of beads here that I've got, all the different beads, and I'm just going to make a bunch of dangles of different, you know, different styles. I don't know. I'm not going to make them all the same is basically what I'm trying to say here. So let me get these all poured out here. And we're going to use our bead caps. All right. So here we go. We've got a little bit of extra of those. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take this bigger chain right here. And we're going to put the pendant in the middle. So I'm going to find the ends. And that's funny. It's got a small ring on that end. Okay, doesn't really matter. But I'm going to find the middle right here. And I'm going to take my pendant. And I'm just going to hook it on. Now, I've already put this jump ring on here, and the reason I did that is I broke one of the other ones trying to get the jump ring on it, so I figured I would do that off camera, you know, just in case I break another one. That way, everybody wouldn't be laughing at me. So, I am going to just open this up very carefully and stick it on. And where are all of my, for some reason, all of my chain nose pliers are missing. What have I done with them? I have no idea. It's been a mess. I'm a mess lately. Okay. I'm going to put this right on here. Close it up really good. Excuse me. Good Lord. I sneezed. I'm telling you. Okay. So here we go. So here's what we got. We got our pendant hanging on there. It is really cute. Let me scoot some of this stuff up out of the way. So you can see it. So there it is. It's just going to hang right there on our chain. Now, what I want to do is I want to take clumps of beads. For some reason, my camera is low today. I need to scoot all this up. Okay, I'm going to take clumps of beads and I'm going to make clusters. So every few links I'll do a cluster here. I may do a cluster here. I'm just going to do clusters all the way up this chain of 3 or 4 of these beads, okay? So we need to make a ton and a half of dangles. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to show you, I had somebody ask if I would show how to make wire-wrapped dangles, and I am going to do that. And I'm also going to show you just how I make a regular one. So let me grab out a bunch of these head pins. And I am going to use, for the wire-wrapped ones, which will be the little tiny rondelles, I'm going to use some thinner ball head pins, if I can find them. Like I said, my drawer I don't know what happened to it. The cat probably jumped in it or something. Here they are. Okay, so these are thin little ball head pins, and these are really good for wire wrapping things. So I'm going to be using both of these. Alrighty. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my beads. So we'll start with these. Now these don't really need to be wire wrapped. They can just go in a regular dangle. So I'm just going to stick one on. And I'm going to show you how I do a dangle. I do have the one-step looper, but I'm going to show you just so you can know. For the new people, this is how that I do it. I turn it at a 90-degree angle just like that with my chain nose pliers. I take my cutters and I cut about this far. I do not know how far this is, and for some reason my ruler is missing. Oh wait, here it is. Okay, so let's measure this. So it's about a 1/2 millimeter, okay? So about, no it isn't. These are in 10s. I'm silly. It's about 5 millimeters. I'm so sorry. Goodness. Okay, so about 5 millimeters is what I'm going to cut my wire at. So and that just seems to work for me. It works better for me to cut it shorter rather than longer. And I have these Xuron pliers. If you want teeny tiny precise round nose pliers, let me tell you, these things will make a tiny, tiny loop. I actually have to be conscious to go up on the plier a little bit in order to get my loop big enough. So I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to roll my loop back. I take my pliers out and reposition them as I need to, and I'll just roll that loop back. And for some reason, it tipped over. I didn't hold it tight enough. But if that happens to you, you just take your pliers and just straighten it up. It's no big deal. And there it is. So we got a little loop. So I'm going to make a whole big bunch of these. Here's another one. I'm using these teeny tiny short head pins for this because I don't use them ever for anything else. And I'm like, this is a good way to use these up. I don't know where I got these teeny tiny short head pins, but I never ever use head pins that tiny hardly. So this is a great chance to just use them up. Here we go. I'm just going to roll this back just like that. Okay. So there's two. Now, let me show you with a little rondelle how I do the wire wraps. Okay, so for this, I don't like to put little teeny tiny beads like this on one of these kinds because it just takes away from the bead. It shows more head pin than it does bead. So I like to use these little ones that you can wire wrap. And the way that I do this is same thing. I'm just going to bend it at a 90-degree angle, just like this. But I'm not going to cut it off, okay? I'm going to go down onto my pliers to the bend, as close as I can get to the bend. And I'm going to flip this wire over just like that. So what you have, if you take your plier out, is this. Then I'm going to turn my pliers, okay, to where they're up and down, like this. And I'm going to wrap this on around. So now here's what I have, okay. So I've got a little loop and the wire sticking straight out. I'm going to take my pliers and grab it right there, and I'm just going to take my hand or my fingers, and I'm just going to wrap it around a couple of times. Okay, straighten him up a little if he gets crooked. Then you take your wire cutters, and you trim it right off. And if you have any wire sticking out there, you can just take your pliers. It's better to do it with your chain nose pliers. I've got my round nose pliers in my hand. But you just take your wire and you tuck it right in, just like that. And there you have a little tiny wire wrapped loop with a little rondelle on there. Okay, so, and then, you know, if you want to see how to do that 8mm bead, let's go ahead and put bead caps on him because he's big. So I'm going to put a bead cap on him. I would not do a wire wrap loop with him unless you just want to. I mean, you can do wire wrap loops on all of them if you want. They're pretty, but I don't always prefer them because I think they take away from the beauty of the bead because they tend to get a little bulky. So I don't really prefer wire wraps unless I have to do them. But like I said, you can do whatever you want. But same thing. And there we have our good little loop. Now I don't worry about them not being closed yet because I'm going to make a bunch of them and then we're going to be putting them on. And as I put them on, I will definitely make sure that they are closed. Okay. That's very important, obviously. You don't want your loops to be open or your beads are going to fall off. Now, these little shell beads, I'm just going to do the same way as I did the others. I'm not going to wire wrap them. So I'm just going to bend it 90 degrees. Go ahead and trim that off. And come on in with my round nose pliers and make a loop. Okay, so there we have it. So I'm going to do a bunch of dangles, probably close to, goodness, I don't know, 50, 60 dangles, okay? So I'm going to go off screen to do that because to watch me make 50 or 60 dangles would probably make you crazy. So I will be back when I get them done. Okay, so I've got all my little dangles made here. There's a bunch of them. I don't know how many there are. I didn't count them, but there's a bunch. And I decided I did not really like the little rondelles on the wrapped loop. So I actually just did rondelles on with the shell beads on most of them. Okay. So I do have the few little rondelles that I did on wrap loops, and I think I'm going to hang them on the bottom on the dangle down here at the bottom of the shell, but we'll do that here in a minute. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to do it the same on both sides. Okay, it's going to be a little bit random. But I'm just going to take small jump rings. I've got some, looks like 4mm jump rings here. And I'm just going to hang a few dangles on each, not each separate link, but several of the links, okay? And I'm going to do it with the jump rings because I just like the way that they hang a little bit better when they have a jump ring on them. I don't really like to hang them directly on the chain. I feel like that kind of binds them up a little bit. Alright, so here's my pendant. I've got some 4mm jump rings and some 6mm, and I'm just going to randomize it. That'll make some of them hang a little lower than others, and that's kind of what I want. So right now, I'm going to go ahead, and I did not check all of my loops when I was making them, because I was just trying to make them kind of quick. So now I'm going to make sure that all my loops are closed as I add them on with the jump rings. So like right here, I'm just going to take this one, hang it on here, and make sure my jump ring is good and closed. Okay, and I'm going to do a cluster on each little ring, and you could even hang them kind of from each other if you wanted to. I don't know that I'll do that. I think I'm probably going to hang them all just on the rings, but you could, you know, maybe take one and hang it off of, I could take this one and hang it off of that one if I wanted to, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to hang all of mine from the ring. And you want to make sure that your necklace is laying flat, your chain stays laying flat. That way nothing gets twisted up and you don't end up with some of them in the front and some of them in the back, because that would make them hang kind of weird sometimes. So I try to make sure that my necklace stays laying flat the whole time that I'm doing this. And I'm just going to cluster them. So that one's closed up pretty good. Just like this. So I wanted to say thank you to everybody who checked on me. I actually had some sort of a stomach thing last week. I don't know what it was, but I was in bed for a few days and everybody's been texting and emailing and they're like, hey, are you okay? You haven't put out any videos, and I am okay now, but yeah, I had some kind of stomach bug. And it wasn't COVID, I don't think. I mean, well, I'm pretty sure it wasn't because it wasn't respiratory. But I actually went yesterday and had a COVID test because I'm wanting to go home for Landon's birthday. And my dad is currently in the hospital right now. He's immunocompromised. He's in renal failure and was just diagnosed with congestive heart failure recently. So he keep my mom and dad in your prayers. He's in the hospital. They won't allow any visitors at all. So my mom can't be there with him, and she's always been with him when he's been in the hospital. Like, they've been married for like 55 years, and she's always been with him when he's been sick and in the hospital, which has been a lot. And now she can't even go over there, period. They won't let her in the hospital at all, and she's having trouble. When she calls, the nurses don't want to take the time to talk with her and tell her what's going on, but my dad is not even able to talk on the phone right now. She tried to talk to him on the phone the other day, and she said that he was like incoherent, and he didn't even hang the phone up. He just dropped it. She had to call the nurse's station and tell them that the phone was off the hook in his room. He wasn't even able to hang it up. So, you know, he is not able to tell them the things that they need to know about his own health, and she's always done that as his power of attorney and everything. And so it's just really difficult for anybody that's got family in the hospital right now, that, you know, they won't let anybody in. It's just really hard, you know. So keep my mom in your prayers, and my dad too. But so I actually called the hospital today because she called me and she's like, I just don't know, they won't tell me anything, they don't want to talk to me, they act like that I'm bothering them when I call. And I'm like, look, that's ridiculous. If they're going to shut down the hospital and not let any visitors in, then they need to realize that families are going to call and want to know about their loved ones. I mean, that's common sense. They need to hire somebody to to field those calls or something, you know, at each nurse's station. It's ridiculous. And so I called over there and asked for the patient advocate, and I said, look, you know, I'm in North Carolina. I'm not even there. My mom can't get anybody to talk to her. And I kind of threw a little bit of a fit, but I'm like, this is ridiculous. I mean, you can't treat people like this. So I haven't talked to her this evening, but I hope that they called her. That patient advocate assured me that someone would call her and talk to her. And oh, I don't know. It's just terrible. We've always been with my dad when he's been in the hospital, so this is really hard. So say a prayer for them. And I'm just attaching these all on. But yeah, I'm going to go home here in a couple of weeks, hopefully. So I went yesterday and had the COVID test. So for all of you that have heard the horror stories, it is uncomfortable, but it's not unbearable. I mean, it's, you know, it's uncomfortable for a couple minutes. They take this cotton swab and stick it way, way, way up your nose, like farther than you would ever think you could. And they do that on both sides, and it stings, and like my eyes watered and stuff, but it's really, I mean, you know, it's not that bad. I've had much worse in my life, so, but yeah, hopefully that'll come back negative, and I'll be able to go home and see Landon and, you know, visit with him. I haven't been home since Mother's Day, so I'm really missing my kids. It's really hard. Hard to be without your children like that length of time, especially when I never have before. Alrighty, so this is all we're doing. I'm just hanging little clusters of these on. And like I said, I'm not doing them in any pattern or anything. I'm just kind of being random about it. I even skip, you know, I skipped an extra spot right there. I just want it to look kind of organic and not be too uniform all over. But one thing to do, make sure that your little loops are closed. I did use the one-step looper on some of these, and I like the one-step looper, but I'm not, I don't feel like that it, I don't know, I feel like it's a little bit difficult. Like, I like my loops to be down more closer to the bead than you can get with the one-step looper, and I like the loops to be closed, obviously, which you do have to go back and close them, but I don't feel like it gets down close enough to the bead for my taste. I'd rather make my own manual loops, but I was kind of in a hurry tonight, so when I'm in a hurry and I'm making this many, I go ahead and do it and use it. So here we go. So I am just going to go ahead and attach like I'm doing here, just randomly, and again, make sure your chain is laying flat, so that's the one thing that's kind of important. But I'm just going to go ahead all the way up both sides and attach all my little dangle clusters, and then we'll come back, okay? Okay, so I'm back, and here's what we've got. We've got the dangles going up both sides, and I know you can't see the whole thing right now because of the way that the camera is, but I will definitely put it on a form here at the end and take a picture, or show it to you. So now we're going to work on the little dangle on the end of the shell here. So I've got one of the blue beads, one of the shell beads, two of the green ones, a charm, and a couple of these little rondelle things that I did here in the beginning that I ended up not being fond of. So I'm going to hang them from some chain here on this little bottom of the seashell, okay? So I'm going to take a fairly large jump ring, because I don't want to crack this, and I did that before on the top of a different one. So, and I'm just going to go ahead and hook a piece of chain to it. And I don't know how long this piece of chain is. Hang on, I'll look at it. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 links. And I do have this chain on my website, but it's in, I have it in rose gold and silver. So I don't have antique bronze, but okay. So actually, I did mean to put this on there. Actually, I'll do it with a jump ring. So I'm going to put the little dangle, and I'm going to hang it from the big jump ring here. Just like this. Okay. Just like that. And then I'm going to just hang all these beads from this chain. So we have a little dangle down there. And I don't want this big one on the very bottom because I think that would look kind of weird. So I'm just going to put it like maybe, I don't know, up here close to the top. Do like the third little link from the top of the chain. Okay. And then I'm just going to fill in with all these smaller beads and dangles here. If you can hear a plane outside, there's a bunch of stuff flying over. It has been crazy at Fort Bragg the last few weeks. I mean, they have been blowing things up. I was sitting in the kitchen, and our kitchen leads out to our garage, and so there's a door there, and I was sitting at the kitchen table the other day, and whatever bomb they set off over there at Fort Bragg blew our garage door open. The door from our garage into our kitchen, not our big garage door, but the door from our garage into our kitchen, it blew it open. So if that tells you anything, it is insanely loud, and they have been blowing things up like all day and all night. It's all night long, 2, 3 in the morning, doesn't matter. It's so loud it rattles our windows. And we had friends in from West Virginia, couples, like last weekend or weekend before, I can't remember, but they were like, what in the world? It scared them. And I was like, well, the Marines are in town. That's what everybody says when you ask about it. I'm like, what's going on over at Fort Bragg? Oh, the Marines must be in town. So I don't know, those Marines, they get pretty, they blow things up over there. So it's been crazy. So if you're hearing anything, don't be alarmed. It's just Fort Bragg. They're over there doing their stuff. But yeah, I always laugh because ever since we moved here, whenever I say anything about, Fort Bragg making noise over there, whatever, they're always like, oh, the Marines are in town. I'm like, okay. Those Marines, they're loud. So we are just continuing to add on these last little ones. I'm just going to add on these little rondelle dangles because I don't have anything else to do with them, and I hate to waste them or just have them laying around. Let's see, maybe we'll put one of them on the very end. That'd be kind of cute because it's tiny. Whoa. I think Chris just got home. I heard the door in there. I hope it's him. Maybe it's Fort Bragg blowing open the door. Who knows? All right. We're going to add a couple more of these, and then we'll be ready to finish the top. There we go. Yeah, it's Chris. I hear him down there, so if he comes in, I don't have the door closed. He may walk in here and be like, hey, what are you doing? In the middle of my recording. Alright, let's get that one on. Alright, there's our little dangle. So that looks really cute on the end of this. Yeah, it does. Okay, so let's finish the top, and then I will put it on a form and show it to you. So I measured it around my neck, and it fits right about where I think that I would like it. Let me measure how long this chain is. I'm not sure how long I cut, or how long this chain is. I didn't even cut it. I just left it at the length that was on the package. So we've got 12, looks like it's about 24 inches. Yeah, right at 24 inches long. So that's pretty good, I think. Let me hold it up here. Yeah, by the time I finish it off, it's going to hang pretty well right where I like it. So we're just going to take our lobster, and I'm going to get a little bit thicker jump ring here. Actually, the lobster can just clasp onto this. Let me cut this little piece off that's on here. Where'd my cutters go? Here they are. Let me cut this little piece off. I don't really need that on there. Okay. So the lobster can just clasp onto that. And let me get this little piece off. I really like this chain. I think it's really cool. And I don't use big chain a lot, so it's kind of unusual for me, but I do like this one. Okay, and I'm going to hook the lobster on with a little bit thicker jump ring. I like to use a little bit thicker one or a split ring, but I'm not going to use a split ring. I'm just going to get a thicker jump ring. Split rings are so difficult to deal with. I hate them. Alright, so we're just going to put the lobster on here, just like this. And I am going to cut another little piece of my chain here for a dangle, because I like to do this little extender and a dangle. And I'm going to go ahead and hook it onto this other little loop over here. Just like this. I don't know that anybody would want to wear this necklace any longer than I've made it, but just in case. And then we're just going to put this little bead dangle on the end. Alright, so there you have it. And this is really cute. Let me go ahead and put it on a form so you can see it. Oh, please tell me my lobster's not. There we go. I thought it was stuck. Sometimes they are. And I will show it to you. Hold on just a minute. Okay, so here's the finished necklace on a form. I love it. I think it turned out really, really cute. Here's the dangle on the end of our seashell. And all the way up we have these cute little dangles all the way up to the top there. And I love this. I think it turned out really, really cute. There's my penny for when I take pictures and stuff for my website, but this is my light box I've got it in. But yeah, so if you're interested in any of those necklace components, like I said, the bead, the faux sea glass beads, and the shell are on my website. And yeah, I think it turned out really, really cute. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and have a great rest of the evening, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!